Hey, folks, my guest today is Mohamad Ibrahim. He's a distinguished engineer with a demonstrated history of driving technology transformation in high scale and high growth organizations. He's now building Penny.co, a procurement software and B2B marketplace platform. Mohamad, are you ready to take us to the top?
Yeah, definitely. Welcome, everyone. Hey, Nathan.
Thanks for joining. So, should we think about you sort of like Vendr? You're helping people save money on their SaaS purchases?
That's definitely right. So our main goal is basically help companies or firms streamline their procurement processes through different offerings of ours. The main goal is basically for the companies to have or oversee their spendings and their procurement processes in general.
Okay. And what are you doing differently than some of the folks we've already talked about?
Well, what we're doing uniquely and what differentiate us from competitors is how we basically positioned our software offerings as well as services. We combined different arms. First is basically the software offering that we're doing. Second is the logistics and ability to reach out to multiple or different suppliers on the ground. We combined that in a streamlined fashion so that companies can reach out to different suppliers as well as manage their internal and external communication in a very streamlined fashion. So that's what we're doing differently at Penny.
Okay. And give me an understanding of what customers are paying you to use your technology. Is it a percent of what you save them?
That's definitely right. I mean, this is one of the proposals we offer to our customers, which basically is how much you save. I mean, how much you actually spend on overall bill in the company, and we offer them direct return in terms of cutting of their spending cost, and we translate that as a value to the company. And based on this, we take cuts as a revenue sharing model.
What's sort of the range of the cuts that you would take, like 2% or 10% or 30% or what?
Well, it depends actually from industry to another. We work with our clients to basically quantify this, but it ranges from sometimes some cases actually 0.5 to all the way to 15% by just employing our software technology stack as well as best industry practices in terms of procurement processes.
And Mohamad, what would you say your average take rate is? Is it average maybe 7 or 8%?
Yeah, something between 7 to 10%.
Okay, fair enough. Very cool. Share with me a little bit more. I guess so. When you look at all your customers and all your product offerings, what's the average customer going to pay you per month?
Well, to be honest, the way we position our product is to be variable, depending with different modules on the shelf. We somehow package our offering to our customers depending on how customers, depending on the customer requirement, and this differs from industry to another. So sometimes, for example, customers come and say, "Well, I want, to use your software stack from procure all the way to pay." Some of them know I want to basically focus partially on that. So depending on the customer need and the number of users, we basically offer our software as a package to customers. And work with them throughout the process. For standard offering, we use, for just general users, we offer something around 1,000 per year as a licensed software.
So is that what most customers are paying you? Is about $1,000 per year as an average?
Correct.
That's across your entire base, about $1,000 per year as an average.
Per user.
Oh, what's going on there, YouTube? Good to see you guys. Now imagine this. You love watching these interviews with SaaS founders, but imagine if we took all of the valuation data out from over 2,807 interviews I've done manually. Saves you a lot of time. Well, we've done this. We've built it into the beautiful interface inside of FounderPath. Check this out. I'll show you how you can access this in a second, but you log in, you connect your Stripe account, you see your valuation real time, you can see what it changed over the past 88 days, and even set goals for valuation this year. Now, the secret to valuation is there's many different ways to value a SaaS business. So the reason you're going to see 3 or 4 different valuations inside of your Founder Path dashboard, this is all free by the way, is because depending on who's doing the buying of your SaaS company, you're going to get a different valuation. A VC is going to pay a different valuation. Private equity firm is different. If you're going to do a minority sale, that's different. And if you sell the whole business, that's a different valuation. You can see all those when I hover over here. Right, so the teal is what a VC would pay, yellow is what private equity, and red is if you sold the whole thing outright. Now, what's cool about this is not built off random data. Again, you guys hear these interviews on YouTube. All these data are built from real-time valuation data points founders share with us on the show. So traction, 1.2 million, seed round, 3.7 raise, they sold 22% of their business. Go in here and filter by the event. Maybe you only want to see companies that have sold the whole business. Well, here are a bunch that have been acquired, the valuation and the multiple. Maybe you're going out right now and you're raising your seed round. Well, go in here and look at all this recent seed deals that went down, what they raised, what valuation they raised at, and what percent that they sold. There's never been a larger data set of SaaS valuations than what you can get now inside of Founder Path, and we're thrilled to bring it to you. All right, we're going to go back to the YouTube video here in a second, but if you want to check this tool out, if you want to jump in and sign up, you can check it out for free to get your valuation at this link, founderpath.com/products/valuations. Or if you go to founderpath.com and hover over products, click on get your valuation here and go ahead and sign up to give it a whirl. Again, all that valuation data live right inside the platform. I hope to see you there. All right, let's jump back into the interview. Per you, okay, and how many users are companies usually signing up? We're talking teams of 2 or teams of 300?
On average, yeah, on average, it is like, we target like small, we focus mostly on medium to large companies. So these can actually range from 20 all the way to 100 users, targeting people who work in procurement department for big corporates and companies.
Okay, so Mohamad, these corporates you're landing with 20 on their team, paying $1,000 a seat. Your sweet spot is more like 20 or $40,000 a year, something like that.
Correct.
I see. Tell me more of the backstory here. What year did you launch your first land your first customer?
Well, we basically worked initially with a few firms. We called them design partners that helped actually shape our product the way it is right now. Right. So what we did, we shadowed their procurement department, and we copied what is basically called the general practices in their procurement processes. So based on this, we basically formulated something called the MVP, which is the minimum viable product. This is how we initially designed it. We worked with a few, like around 10 early adopter customers to basically help us shape and design our early product offering. And then we started first with something called the happy scenario, which is basically the most straightforward business workflow that can satisfy their need. And from there, we basically started offering a few customization by adding more and more customers to our user base. We realized that some customers require this customization, some customers require different workflow depending on how they do their internal procurement processes. And based on this, we came up with something called customization business mapping.
Mohamad, sorry, before we go too far down this rabbit hole, my question was just, when did you land your first customer? What year?
Well, this was sometime back in late 2020, which is around 4 months from when we started.
Okay, so 2020 you get going, and now fast forward to today. How many customers or companies are using you, paying you?
Well, I'm not sure if I can disclose this number, but I would say in tens is basically reasonable. After like a year and a half from the start date, we have tens of customers currently active and paying customers.
Are we talking like 40 though, or like 90?
Well, on the upper side, I would say.
Okay, so like next month, can you pass 100 customers? When do you think you can pass 100 customers?
Well, to be honest, I can't estimate that what we have, targeted this year is by the end of this year is way beyond 100 customers for sure.
Mm-hmm. Now, can I take 60 or 70 customers today times that sort of ACV you gave me earlier to guess you're doing something like $110,000 a month right now in revenue in terms of run rate?
Well, that, I mean, I don't think I can disclose that, to be honest.
Well, I'm not asking you to
But
disclose. I'm not asking you to disclose anything new. I just know you have more than 40 customers, which you already told me, and you said the higher end, so I'm guessing 70. And you said the average ACV was like
right.
$20,000. So I'm just multiplying.
That's correct. Not all of them basically goes by the average. Especially on the early customers, we offer them some special offers, some discounts to basically join us and help us work with us to basically design and shape our product.
I see. Okay, so maybe you're a little less than
that was
maybe a little
some
less than
incentives
100,000.
basically to get started.
Got it.
Right.
Got it. So you're
Right.
maybe a little under
So the
$100,000 a month right now today.
Right. So the 20,000 basically apply to the latest customers that we acquired, not early ones.
Okay, well, that's not when I say what's the average customer pay you. You can't just only count the newest ones paying you the most money. That's not what average means. So I get it though. You're somewhere. I guess let me ask you this question: if you're south of $100,000 in MRR today, can you break that this year?
I guess so. Yep, that's our target.
I see. Okay, very cool. And if you're doing like a little south of that today, where were you exactly a year ago, so we can calculate growth rate? This time in 2021.
So in 2021, we were still like in the early phases of shipping our products. So, we didn't have except one paying customers, but the rest were just design partners that worked with us. So it was only one paying customer. So the growth rate is massive year on year. From when we started until now.
Got it. So about a year ago, you were doing like $3,000 or $4,000 a month in revenue, something like that.
That's correct.
I see. Okay, and obviously, yeah, because you're multiplying small numbers, the growth rate's through the roof. The question is, can you keep that growth rate really high? Now, I believe you raised some capital to help fund the growth. Is that right?
That's correct. The latest round we raised, it was announced back in January. We raised $5 million USD of fund.
And why do you need that much money to build a company like this? It doesn't seem to me like it would be like tech intensive. What costs money?
Well, it's basically purely, all what we sell is the software that we offer our customer. Right? We don't sell products. Other than the software that services that we offer our customer as a service, right? It looks like it is straightforward. When you look at procurement deep inside, it is really complicated. What we're covering basically approval workflow. We're covering, different stakeholders within the organization and then also externally. So that requires a lot of streamlining, a lot of design processes. So it is actually tech driven, tech-based company, not tech-enabled. So it requires a lot of technology backed. In addition to that, the fund that we raised, we're using it to build a B2B marketplace, which is something complementing our software offering by having a marketplace, which is basically nothing but a product listing that companies can use to list their product and buy from other companies.
Understood. And most people in their seed round are selling between sort of 10 and 20% of their business. Were you sort of in that same range?
Correct.
Okay. And so, it's dilutive, right? So as a founder, how are you thinking about managing dilution? If you sold 20% of the business, that means what you're looking at like a $25 million valuation.
That's right. So, it was something around this value. You basically could estimate it, right? Using the general metric. The way we're targeting is a multiplier in terms of revenue by the end of this round is a multiplier by 4 to 5 times.
What do you mean by that? Sorry.
The multiplier basically is you go by how much money you raised, and then you calculate the valuation of the company by them, and how much you want to basically grow in the future by the end of this round, right? So you target at least whatever valuation the company basically achieves before it goes into before the ground kicks in. You want to achieve, for example, 5 times that valuation by the end of that runway, right?
So what you're saying is you want to take your revenue from $100,000 a month today up to 400 or 500,000 bucks a month by the time you go through this 5 million bucks you just raised.
Correct.
I see, and hopefully raise at a valuation of 100 or 150 million, something like that.
Correct.
Interesting.
Absolutely.
Now, Mohamad, did you found the business yourself or did you have co-founders?
Sorry?
Did you found the business? Did you launch the company yourself or do you have co-founders?
No, definitely. We have four. I have four co-founders working with me. Iyad Dalouj is the CEO. Majid Dalouj is our COO. Himadri Salami, who is our CPO, Chief Product Officer, and myself is the CTO, Chief Technology Officer.
And Mohamad, did you guys just split it right down the middle at the start? Everyone gets 25%?
Sorry?
When you launched, how did you split equity? Did you just do it equally?
No, we didn't do that. Basically, some people took more risk at the beginning. So those people basically deserve more shares to start with than those who took lower risks to start with, right?
And what is
So
risk?
based
Do you
on
mean
this,
they put in money or what kind of risk?
it's not money. It's basically devotion of their times, right? And how much they were dedicated to basically work on the company. So two
Are
of
you
us were
all in
basically
today? Are you
working.
full time?
Yeah, definitely. Now we're all full time. Now that we basically raised the round and we are basically set ourselves in a very a good success trajectory. So that all of us now has converted full time working in bank.
And when we talk about valuation growth, if you just raised at a 20 to 25 million back in September of 2020, when you guys did your 1.3 seed round, was that at sort of like a 5 or 6 million cap? Pretty standard.
Right.
Did you go through an accelerator?
Yeah, we used an accelerator just to, at the beginning, to basically get us some sort of a grant so that we can build a proof of concept to help us basically raise the first pre-seed round.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, that makes sense. And what's your team size today? How many people full time?
We are around 25% between tech, business, and different organizations in the company.
And how many engineers?
Engineers specifically, the tech organization between developers, data engineers, QA, DevOps, total around half of that number, like around 13 people, basically mostly working in tech. The rest are supporting organizations with us sales and business leads.
And how are your sales folks? How are they getting new customers? What's the go-to-market strategy?
Right now it's mostly sales-led growth that we're doing. It's mostly offline business, except on the SaaS that we think it is actually mature. So we have mainly two offerings, as I mentioned earlier. One is the SaaS, the other is the marketplace. For the SaaS, it has been already, the distribution channel has already been established digitally. So we're basically relying on Google campaigns to basically kick off the campaigns and go from there. For the marketplace, we're still going offline. We're still working with design partners. We're approaching companies in an offline manner and take them throughout the process just to make sure that the app works flawlessly. The suppliers are basically gathered and things are working as expected.
Very cool. Mohamad, we're excited for you though. On that note, let's wrap up here with the famous five. Number one, what's your favorite business book?
0 to 1.
Number two, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
Definitely. Elon Musk is one of the main business famous people that I basically admire and follow.
Number three, what's your favorite online tool for building Penny?
Jira and Confluence.
Number four, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
Sorry?
How many hours of sleep do you get?
Well, that varies. On average, I sleep 5 hours a day.
Okay. And what's your situation? Married, single, kids?
I'm married, no kids.
No kids.
I'm delaying that actually until I get my startup to a really right position where it can actually grow itself from there. So
And how old are you,
company is
Mohamad?
my kid for the beginning.
And how old are you?
I'm 32 years old.
32. Last question. Something you wish you knew when you were 20.
Well, I wish I entered into the entrepreneurship earlier when I was in my 20s. I mean, I would definitely would have failed then or succeeded and learned a lot and took that experience with me. I only started my entrepreneurship journey sometime around late 20s, to be honest, and that was a mistake. I can say.
Guys, there you have it. Penny.co helps you buy your software and anything you need at the cheapest rates possible with their procurement solution and software. They make money by taking a little cut, and also their SaaS tools. They did $5,000 a month about a year ago, now flirting with $100,000 a month in revenue. They should pass that this year. They also just have $5 million in fresh capital and a seed round. They just raised it around a $20 to $25 million valuation, hoping to 5x the company with that money, building their engineering team up from 13 to something larger and their team of 25 into something much greater, as well as they break 70, 80, 90, 100 customers. Mohamad, thanks for taking us to the top.
Thanks, Nana. Really appreciate it.
One more thing before you go. We have a brand new show every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. It's called Shark Tank for SaaS. We call it Deal or Bust. One founder comes on, 3 hungry buyers, they try and do a deal live, and the founder shares back-end dashboards, their expenses, their revenue, ARPU, CAC, LTV, you name it, they share it. And the buyers try and make a deal live. It is fun to watch every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. Additionally, remember, these recorded founder interviews go live. We release them here on YouTube every day at 2 p.m. Central. To make sure you don't miss any of that, make sure you click the subscribe button below here on YouTube, the big red button, and then click the little bell notification to make sure you get notifications when we do go live. I wouldn't want you to miss breaking news in the SaaS world, whether it's an acquisition, a big fundraise, a big sale, a big profitability statement, or something else. I don't want you to miss it. Additionally, if you want to take this conversation deeper and further, we have by far the largest private Slack community for B2B SaaS founders. You want to get in there. We've probably talked about your tool if you're running a company or your firm if you're investing. You can go in there and quickly search and see what people are saying. Sign up for that at nathanlatka.com/Slack. In the meantime, I'm hanging out with you here on YouTube. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes. Feel free to let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you enjoyed it, click the thumbs up. We get a lot of haters that are mad at how aggressive I am on these shows, but I do it so that we can all learn. We have to counter those people. We got to push them away. Click the thumbs up below to counter them and know that I appreciate your guys' support. All right, I'll be in the comments. See ya.